Hey, I'm Brylls, and I'm here to talk to you about natural selection. Natural selection is when individuals of species with better traits that suit them better with their environment gives them a selective advantage, and so they survive and pass on those traits, and that can cause changes in species over time and even create new ones. Like, for example, this species is pretty useless, but it reproduces a lot, so it continues to survive. Now, with this new species, new kind of the species, it has a new trait to where it can communicate with others of its own kind easier with noises caused by what appears to be hand-type extensions. And so it can allow it to do mating calls, let others know when food is nearby, or when there's danger. Okay, so first, as I described, the species can use a mating call, specifically the superior one, and as we look over here, he's just hanging out. He can't do the mating call, and then he sees a potential mate in the distance. He goes over to go try and mate and using his mating call. But unfortunately, he cannot succeed and so is not able to mate at this time. And with this superior species who can use the mating call, he now will attempt to mate with the potential mate that he notices. And since he is able to repeat the mating call, they understand each other and will now proceed to mate, passing on their superior genes, and thus furthering the species. And as we see here, after the two have completed their mating, they will come out with a hybrid offspring that will contain various amounts of traits gained from the mother and the father. Okay, so I'm going to place a food source of theirs down, which is just some worms. We're going to see how they react when one of them notices it. As you can see by their call, you can see them start to notice and message the rest of them to come eat. And then this one, he notices others of his species there, but he cannot understand what they're doing, and so he doesn't understand there's food there. And so he tries to search elsewhere. And so, as you can see, he's trying to alert others to the enemy's presence, and now the predators are attacking him, and he is unable to call for aid. And so he is consumed by the predators. And now we can see here, as the superior species notices the danger and it uses its call to get his buddy to go scare him off. And that's another reason why his trait makes him a superior species to that dead body over there. Okay, and as we see here, the species is congregating at a food source, and then as a new species begins to appear with a ability of its own.
Free.
He is able to scare off the other species and get the food source for himself. Okay, so the bottleneck effect, which will now be demonstrated, is essentially when a large number of a species dies. As so. That means that only a few are left to mate, and so the traits of the dead individuals are gone forever, and so the two must repopulate. And then once they are finished repopulating, a new set of individuals will appear with the traits from those parents and with less traits than what there would have been if more were present, because there would have been more offspring and thus more alleles present. Okay, so in this video, we gave you a short description of natural selection, which is essentially acquired traits through mutations in the genome of certain individuals in a species gives it a selective advantage or disadvantage based off of what the mutation is. And for advantages, they survive to reproduce and pass on said traits and can change a species over time. We also demonstrated the differences between a normal individual in the species and a superior individual with an acquired trait that gave them an evolutionary advantage, as well as the effects on mating, food gathering, and predator avoiding, as well as briefly explaining the bottleneck effect with a short demonstration. Thank you for your time.